Clap for the cameras. Give it up for the cameras.
Welcome to the Cissy Boys podcast. I am Dan Donahue.
Do you think Dan has a right to take away your vape?
No, I really miss it. But yeah, it's in my best interest. I'm Matt LeGrand.
Here's the thing about taking people's vapes, which I do all the time, because people's vapes are constantly on tables. When they go to bars, they'll be passing them between people, and I just take them because I Cooper, you can attest to this. I'm pretty accepting of my friends' habits and vices.
I think that's true.
I guess, but also you did take Matt's vape.
Well, here's the thing. I make one line in the sand, and that's vaping.
Why vaping?
Vaping is just at the perfect intersection of both being unhealthy and also pissing me off.
So you won't accept that in your friends?
It's not that I want to accept it. It's that I'll take it, and if they want it back, they'll have to fight me for it. So it's doing two things.
I feel like that's not accepting.
Everybody has different definitions to different things. But
Take it, they have to fight you for
what
it.
it does is and there's no way the mic picks that up. What it does is it allows for a moment, a brief moment where my friends can finally breathe in oxygen, which many of them are just not doing anymore. Most of them, it's just been vapor for the last 9 or 12 months since they came up with those fucking flume things, which just look like a tit. It just looks like a nipple. It's so...
Yeah, it feels good.
There's something so fucked up about how much of just a little baby people who use those look like.
Yeah.
And so it gives them a little break, and then fighting me gives them cardio, which they haven't done in the 8 months that they've been vaping for. So
I've been riding my bike
to the vape store.
I feel like that's like calling being in prison a break. Because it's like a forced break.
But it is kind of a break. It's not good,
Do you
but
feel
it's
like
a break.
you're on a break right now?
Sure. I will say last night I changed my shorts when I got home, and I put on athletic shorts, and didn't have the vape until about an hour ago, and I completely forgot about it.
That's good.
I don't think I'm not drinking or doing any drugs right now, so it's my one vice. So I will say it's a little cruel that you took away my little pacifier.
I think you should go back to drinking. I think you should drink instead.
Do you think drinking is less harmful than vaping?
Here's the thing. People will ask me that because I have gone public a couple of times saying how annoying vaping is to me. It's not about health. It's about the fact that it fucking annoys me when people are doing it around me. Because at least when you smoke a cigarette, you have to relocate. And there's an understanding from cigarette smokers where it's like, oh, I shouldn't fucking blow this shit in people's faces. But there's just been so many times that I'll be in a circle of people and then a fucking cloud of vanilla will just hit my face. I didn't fucking ask for that.
Yeah, but you're so blessed to have not asked to just receive the smell of vanilla when you could just be inhaling LA trash.
I'd rather.
Also, do you
vanilla.
like it when people throw up in your apartment? Because that's what I'll do if I drink in your apartment.
Well, you're staying out of my apartment. That's what's good about it, is that I have the ability to keep you out of my apartment.
You can vape and drive. I think vaping's better than drinking.
I'm not saying what's better or healthier. I'm saying what pisses me off. And vaping pisses me off more than when my friends are drinking and more than when they are smoking cigarettes. And so I've made it my vendetta. Listen, anti-vaping people are not on my side either, because I'm smoke as much as you can, you know? I don't
cigarettes.
Care. Yeah, smoke
because
cigarettes.
You know that you're not allowed to do it in people's faces.
I can be in a place where you have to go somewhere else to do that shit. It's just fucking annoying. It's annoying to me because I just want to be talking to my friend, and then all of a sudden I just hear this weird fucking Darth Vader inhale, and then there's I got crop dusted with fucking this. I just hate it. It just pisses me off, and it's this weird shit where because people can do it all the time, they just do, and people are just doing it constantly, and it upsets me.
I went to the movies yesterday, and I brought it in the movie theater, and I vaped in the theater.
I would kill you.
There was a guy who worked at the theater with a flashlight trying to find who was vaping.
I would kill you.
He did
He
not.
wouldn't have to. He would have to find your body. That's what he would be looking for if you were fucking doing that.
He was looking for my body.
If you were in front of me, your dead body. If you were in front of me.
Oh, if you were there.
What's that?
You mean if you were there?
If I were there, things would have gone a little different.
This is.
Damn,
I was
like-
watching a horror movie. Have you heard of the movie Barbarian?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It's so good. Do you like scary movies?
It's about Dan's wife.
Yes.
How about
Don't ever fucking say that
How about
about
you
my
put-
beautiful wife
how about
ever
you
again.
put that in your vape and smoke it?
Don't say that about my fucking. Take that back. Before we keep going as gentlemen, you have to take that
I
back.
don't take anything
Hey,
back.
look at me. Gentleman to gentleman. Take it back.
You have to accept that I don't take things back.
As a gentleman.
I regret saying it, but I can't take it back.
Well, as long as you regret it.
I don't regret it.
What the fuck?
I don't regret it. Lewis said we haven't been funny enough on these episodes.
Yeah, what the fuck?
It's not true. We've been really, really funny. So I was vaping in Barbarian yesterday, very scary movie, and I think it would be a scarier movie if it was about someone vaping in a theater who's getting murdered while they were watching a scary movie.
Yeah, that would. I'm gonna film that movie next time I go to a movie theater and someone starts fucking vaping in front of me. Fuck off. Just fuck off. Be an adult. Be a fucking adult. Do drugs. That's fine. I'm totally fine with that. Don't do this dumb shit where you can fucking do it 24/7 all the time. It's not good.
It's not good.
A vice should be a vice.
But also doing heroin is probably not good either.
Yeah, but you can't do heroin in front of me in a movie theater and not have people raise an eyebrow.
I think it'd probably be easier because there's no cloud of smoke.
It wouldn't be bothering me, actually. Yeah, it wouldn't ruin my fucking movie experience if you were doing heroin in front of me.
Snort heroin and just nod out for the entire movie.
Yeah.
Great, that's fine. I get to still watch Barbarian without a fucking big cloud in front of me.
You're saying this right after Michael Keaton won Best Actor in the limited series Dope Sick.
Mhm.
You're going to say his powerful performance where he fights the opioid epidemic was worth nothing as you encourage people to snort heroin instead of vape apple green.
I'm saying if Michael Keaton, if that movie was made 2 years later,
Limited
it would have been
series.
called Vape Sick.
That's a good
Okay.
one.
Do you know?
And the doctor would be Vin Diesel for
That
some
would be
reason.
awesome.
Do you know to practice for that movie? Michael Keaton actually fought the opioid epidemic, and he fixed it.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was all method acting. Did you
He
know that?
wins?
He won. He beat it. It's over. You're welcome. My
Wow,
brother.
good for him. That's some Birdman shit right there. I don't even know if his character in this show he's a doctor who's on trial because he's been prescribing it, but he was like given money to prescribe. You know what I mean? You know how it goes.
Yeah.
We all know how it goes. You guys are from Boston, both of you, except you.
Oh, was he from Massachusetts in the thing?
I feel like it's on the East Coast. I haven't seen it. I shouldn't.
You
Talk about
gotta fucking stop doing heroin.
it. Yeah, heroin, black tar. Why don't you just eat more coffee?
You can't do heroin, kid.
Hey kid,
like that?
you got, and the guy's just shooting up because he can't stand the fucking annoying accent of the person in front of
Oh
him.
my god, a fucking lobster roll must taste so good on heroin.
Oh yeah, you were just in the beautiful Cape Cod.
I was in Cape Cod. I was at Whitehorse Beach in Plymouth.
You in Plymouth?
Did you
go
to Provincetown for
No.
for your mom's wedding?
No, but
And
a few of the people did.
what's it called? The
Boys Town.
Dick Dock, where people get fucked under the dock. You didn't go there for your mom's wedding?
Really? That's what it's called?
It's not called that, but it's called something eerily similar to Dick Dock. And apparently, after the bars close, everyone just goes under the dock and like has full on.
I accidentally
sex.
downloaded that app instead of TikTok, and boy was I surprised.
Dick Dock is such like
Yeah.
a New England name for a gay.
And
Yeah,
there's-
we're
That's
gonna
like-
go down to the Dick Dock.
That's like the most New England gay shit I've ever heard.
Oh yeah,
Where would you fuck except down by the dock?
it's so P-Town is so funny because you go to everywhere else in Massachusetts and everyone just looks. It's like a potato, just like completely
round ass heads out
round ass heads. There's
Why
a
do
lot of
Irish-
round heads, guys.
Really? Are they ugly?
Oh yeah. Not everyone. No, there's people with a lot of charm, but there's a lot. Like most people
Pretty
are
much everyone's ugly.
are kind of, and then you go to P-Town and it's like, holy shit.
Are they all hot there?
If you told me P-Town is the place where all the hot guys like go to hide from ugly people, I would believe you.
P-Town was apparently one of the first settled places in America. It's like where
Yeah, that makes sense.
The Pilgrims went. They were all gay. And
Yeah.
They went to Provincetown and they started RuPaul's Drag Race.
I think well, it was Plymouth right? Because Plymouth Rock is where they famously first kind of. Well, hey, the first people that were here, they crossed the Bering Strait.
The first town is Jamestown in America.
Yeah, but then that got
Yeah.
fucked up. They fucking they clobbered Jamestown.
Sorry, the first colonized town was Jamestown.
Yeah, we're talking about the colonizers.
Yeah.
Plymouth is the largest.
You guys aren't
county.
ready for a real history lesson.
Mm-hmm.
You just
That
interrupted
I'm
me
not able
saying-
or qualified to.
Is
I
it the
was
Bering
saying-
Strait? What's the land bridge? You know what I'm talking about? The ice bridge that they crossed over on? Is that the Bering Strait?
Terabithia?
Hey, producer, can we look that up?
It is because they fish in the don't they fish in the Bering Sea on Deadliest Catch?
I don't know, but go on.
Why don't you know?
I don't know. Shit.
How was Boston?
It was amazing.
Why did your
It
mom
was,
get married there? And why did your
because-
mom get married anywhere?
Yeah. Why didn't she keep just fucking throwing it around?
Whoa, Dan, that is disrespectful.
I don't know. She said her.
No,
and
but in
Steve-
an empowering way. I don't mean that in a negative
Oh yeah,
way.
yeah. Your mom is a hashtag girl boss. And why was her second girl boss wedding in Boston?
Well, because my now stepdad is from Newton.
The second wedding is always the girl boss wedding. The first wedding is
The first
just
wedding,
a wedding.
is patriarchal.
Yeah, is the
And
patriarchy.
the second wedding
wedding.
is this is my
This
turn
one's
now.
for the gals. Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
do one for the girls.
Yeah.
It was for the girlies.
This one is for the girlies.
He's from Newton, and then he always vacationed in Whitehorse Beach at a cottage with his family that he now owns himself, and that's in Plymouth. And so everybody stayed in the cottages around the beach.
So he owns all the cottages?
No, but
He owns a cottage.
You
rest
rent
of
out
the-
cottages
yeah,
there.
you
It's a
rent
big.
them
Was it really
industry,
pretty?
Yeah.
it was gorgeous.
It's one of the most beautiful places in the world.
It was absolutely gorgeous.
I love the place I live.
great.
It's great.
And fucking
Place I'm from.
Really?
Mhm.
Newton?
No. Well, I grew up in Marion.
it was weird driving around being like, oh, this is why Dan's like this. Okay.
What do you
I
mean
get
by
it.
that?
I don't know. You just see all those trees, and I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Did you
to
see
climb those.
More trees there. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
You used to climb the fuck out of those
Used to
trees.
climb a lot of trees.
There's so many.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's so fucking many. I thought there were a lot of trees in L.A. They got a tree problem.
Yeah.
over there.
Boston?
I've cut down trees with an axe in my backyard.
This is more rural. This is Plymouth, so it's Boston.
Yeah, the
itself
place I
is-
grew up is not like a city.
Boston. Did you see a lot of deaf sailors?
Where's this going?
Well, the movie last year, the best picture winner was Coda, and they were all deaf fishermen.
Is that like your only? All of your references for life are like Academy Award winning or nominated movies. Do you notice that you bring like
or Emmy
acclaimed movies
nominated
up a lot?
limited series?
Did anyone see the people were mad at?
That was a genuine question. Did you see a lot of deaf sailors?
Yeah, I know. Let's
Well,
just
it
move
wasn't-
past it.
it
How
was-
would I know if they were deaf?
Maybe you would try to talk to them.
My brother did try to talk to the guys at the docks because he would fish lobster, and he's like, "How much you guys get a pound?" They're like, "Huh?" And they were like,
Exactly, they probably were deaf.
"No." But like like in a rude way.
Yeah,
But my brother's a fisherman, so he was trying to do fish talk.
but
It wasn't-
he's a fisherman on the West Coast, right?
yeah, he fishes them on the
That's
west coast.
interesting.
Yeah.
There was a big connection there. He could have interacted with a lot of different types of fishermen.
No, that was an angry Portuguese guy.
Are there a lot of Portuguese people in Boston?
Oh, in New Bedford area and in that area, yeah. Those guys are the fucking as fishermen, they're so good.
They're probably very attractive.
Yeah, I mean, no one in New England is attractive.
What about Tom Brady?
Like JFK was the hottest guy in New England, and he's like not that great.
He was kind of ugly.
Yeah, kinda
hot
ugly.
that they had to kill him because he was like upping the median.
Right? Yeah, we
like,
couldn't
of
have
hotness. They're like, wait, this isn't fair. You're like making our average 6.6 instead of like 4.0.
that. Yeah, exactly. We can't be comfortable with this.
That's why you had to leave. That's why Louis C.K. had to leave.
The hottest guy, the two hottest guys
Louis C.K.
imaginable.
is so fucking hot, dude.
We hung out with my brother's friend who's from New Bedford, and he talked about how his mom's boyfriend hit his boyfriend, but he's not that bad of a guy.
His mom's boyfriend hit his boyfriend.
Sorry. His mom's boyfriend
Hit his mom.
hit his mom.
Hit his mom.
His mom's boyfriend hit his mom.
Yes.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
domestic violence in Massachusetts, as in every state.
Can
is
I
no
ask,
good.
what was she wearing?
I don't know.
What could she be wearing where that would be okay to you?
Just a shirt that said the N-word.
It's either Academy Award-winning movies or just
You know what?
fragrantly
Wait,
offensive
time out.
things.
Not to bring light on a very negative situation, but as far as an answer to my question, where obviously I was trying to trap you, right? You were trying to make a joke and I was trying to back you into a corner. I will say this. That was not a bad way out of that corner.
He's a politician.
Don't put baby in the corner.
That was not a bad way. I put you on blast and you did kind of squiggle out of that.
I am anti-hitting women, but I am more so anti-racism. Actually, they're equal.
Interesting. Wait, did you guys see the Jimmy Fallon or not Jimmy Fallon? What's the guy's name that they were all mad
Jimmy
about?
Fallon.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. Did you see that?
What about him?
He laid. There was like a bit. I didn't. I
At the
don't know
Emmys,
why.
I watched it.
I don't know why I'm bringing this up because I don't
watched
know.
it.
I don't know
Anderson
shit
Cooper
about it.
didn't.
No, but
Oh,
I
so
saw
what was the
clip.
context of Jimmy Kimmel doing that?
It was very, very R-word stupid. Who was the presenter? It was Bill Hader.
Okay.
Is that no? It was Amy Poehler's ex-husband. What's his name?
No idea. Sorry.
From Arrested
Lewis?
Development. From Arrested Development. Will Arnett.
Will Arnett.
I like to refer to him as Amy Poehler's ex-husband.
No, that's cool. Yeah.
He came out to present Best Writing in a Comedy Series, and he dragged Jimmy Kimmel by the arm or by the leg, like down the stage, and he was like, "Jimmy would like to be here, but he's knocked unconscious." It was like a very, how do you say, unfunny bit that made zero sense, and Jimmy Kimmel just stayed on the ground, and then Quinta Brunson won Best Writing for Abbott Elementary, which is such a funny show.
Yeah.
She beat Hacks, Ted Lasso, and General Hospital. I'm just kidding.
You know what sucks about that whole
my
situation?
favorite comedy of the year, Dope Sick.
is that people. I feel like it. I mean, it's like that was definitely uncouth to do, and it's like it's
What was the census on it?
The census to me where people were like it was disrespectful because he took away from her moment.
Well, it was actually uncomfortable watching it because Quinta's very small. Like, she's probably like 5 feet tall or something. She gets on stage and his body is right in front of the microphone. So she actually has to step to the side of the microphone, and then she like has to give her speech.
It was weird.
It was bad. Like,
weird.
really, really. He took away from her. It was like, okay, at this point, like, you can give up on the bit and scurry off stage. Because I genuinely wanted to hear what she had to say. She's great, and that's a huge moment for her. She's like 30 years old, and she just won.
Yeah.
Did you hear what she said after the fact about it? Because they asked her, they're like, "What did you think of that?" And she was like, "Oh, well, like I've known Jimmy for a while, and like he gave me like my first like break on a late night show, and like I got the bit, and I was fine with it." And she was like, "I might be more mad tomorrow," but it was kind of like
Cool
the
answer.
way comedians talk about each other, where they're like, "Yeah, I mean, like he did it."
It
He
was
being a dick.
it was a failed bit.
It was a
it
failed
was a
bit.
it was a swing that the kind of guy who has been to too many of these would make.
Totally.
It's a person who has been in the spotlight and in the forefront, and at so much that I feel like he's probably really desensitized to these sorts of events. So in his mind, he's probably like, "Oh, I'll just do this silly little thing, and wouldn't it be funny if I stayed on stage?" But not really understanding that it does matter.
Yeah, it's
to a
like
lot of people.
it was like an afterthought being there, where he was like, "Do I have to go again and present?"
Right.
And
Do
he
you
did.
think-
She did. Last thing about her, she did when she accepted her speech, and she was like, "Really, you're not moving?" And then she was like, "Whatever, you can hold my phone." And then she threw her phone at him.
That's
like
funny.
in a funny way.
That's funny.
If anything, it just made her look better.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, in a roundabout way, it also sort of gives her a little bit more attention
Yeah, we're talking about it.
Right? I feel like people would still be talking about it, but definitely not to the degree that they are now. Because I'm sure that like right-wing media is like, everybody's getting mad at Jimmy Kimmel just for or maybe they already hate Jimmy Kimmel so
They're
much.
like, fuck you, Quinta Brunson. Ariel was white.
Right, yeah.
She's like, I'm not in the movie.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What were you going to say, Cooper?
Do you think this is going to prompt people to look into the Man Show? And
Oh, that would be awesome.
I don't know what the
Jimmy
Man
Kimmel
Show
could
is.
pretty much be like kind of his career really could be ruined by everything
What's
they did
the
on
Man
The
show.
only
Show.
funny thing, I'll explain the Man Show, but the only funny thing to come out of the Man Show is Doug Stanhope's bit about being hired to revive. So the Man Show was the show with Jimmy Kimmel and
Adam Carolla.
Adam Carolla.
Yeah.
And it was literally just like a show where it's like, we're going to be like frat guys, and they would do on the street shit, and they would do like, tit measuring contests or whatever. It was like a real Spike TV thing. You know what I mean?
Like
Okay.
bits where like just a lady with tits would walk by and they'd be like, "Oh."
And then Joe Rogan and Doug Stanhope were hired to try to reboot the Man Show, but obviously their vibe is like really weird.
Meaning
for
that one
show.
ended, and now it's like these
That
are the
one
two
ended,
new guys.
and then two new guys, and people fucking hated it. Like people when Rogan, because people on the like one side who just hate the Man Show were obviously upset that it was getting rebooted because they were like, it's misogynist. All that shit that like obviously is going to come up when you make a show called The Man Show. But then people who are Man Show fans were like, this isn't misogynist enough. Like, this is weird. We don't like how fucking weird this is.
yeah.
Did it get like political?
No, it was just like those are just not the guys. Like people would make arguments where it's like, oh, Joe Rogan is just like a bro, and it's like Joe Rogan is a new bro.
He's a new kind of
He's
bro.
not an old bro, which is what you need to be. An old kind of bro, which is what you need to be to host a Man Show.
80s bro.
There's a big delineation between bros because when bros got on the internet, they really did sort of like mix into the stew of online culture. So like they'll still be bros, but a lot of them will have read something that you're surprised that they read. Like that's the kind of bro.
Isn't that you?
I guess.
I mean, you're not like to the extent of Joe Rogan, but like you're a bro.
Yeah, I've accepted that part of my nature, definitely.
Joe Rogan isn't enough of like an envelope pusher in and of himself. Like
It's not even that. They're just not invested in fun.
They're not pushing the envelope in the way that the fans of the Man Show wanted them to push
They
it.
want like Revenge of the Nerds vibe.
But anyway, afterwards, Doug Stanhope does a special where he talks about hosting the Man Show, and it's such a funny bit, very much about like how when people do TV shows, they don't really give a shit about it because he was like, people were like, you ruined the Man Show, as though I ruined something like spectacular or whatever. And he was like, guess what? I would ruin that show twice as hard for half the money. I don't give a shit about it. It was such a funny way of putting it.
funny.
It's surprising that he would sign on to that.
Yeah, I think they just fucking threw it in there. But yeah, I hope Jimmy Kimmel, they'll go back on there and they'll, man, people's ability to dig into the past when someone makes one mistake is really funny.
There's just so much to dig through.
It's
multiple
so
seasons.
funny.
Like every single show.
Why
every
does every year Jon Oliver's show wins for best late night talk
I
show?
don't know.
It's won like 5-6 years in a row.
Why isn't Gutfeld winning anything on that? Is my question.
That's what I've been
Where?
asking.
Hey, my question. Where the best writing of all time?
Yeah.
What is Gutfeld?
Gutfeld is almost bordering on satire, bad talk show. Because it's like you'll watch because late night comedy especially has been watered down over the years because there's just too much of it now, and so like it's hard to. You're always treading on like old stuff.
There are
and
a
so,
lot of late night shows.
So you'll watch like certain John Oliver clips and certain Daily Show clips, and you'll go like, this isn't fun. Like what the fuck? Like this is weird. But then you watch Gutfeld and you go, oh my god.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Is that the name of the guy that hosts it?
Yeah, his name's Greg Gutfeld, I think.
What?
Guttfeld?
Yeah.
What network is this on?
Fox. It's like the number one rated. Look this up for me. I think it's the number one rated late night show of all time.
Is it right leaning?
Still on?
Oh, it's completely right leaning.
Is
Yeah.
it still on?
Yes. Oh yeah, it's wildly popular.
And they have guests the same as like a Jimmy Kimmel. Like
no, they don't have because like it would just be Gina Carano every episode if that was the case. It would just be like, and introducing again Gina Carano.
I don't think John Oliver has guests either on his show.
Yeah, no, it's like they'll have panels where it's like black gay Republican, like white guy Republican who's like really well dressed.
On Gutfeld?
Yeah, on Gutfeld. You could be on Gutfeld.
I would love to watch it.
You could be on it.
Also, sort of related. Did you know that Dasha from Red Scare was in Succession?
Yeah.
And did you know that she was written out of the next season
Oh no,
because they interviewed Alex Jones on their podcast?
that makes sense. Yeah.
But she's no longer part of Succession.
Mm.
I'm just like my brain is thinking about like the effects of doing things like that. Like,
Right.
I mean, once you're on like a major network show, you kind of have to make a decision between whether or not you are still going to interview Alex Jones.
Right.
Really, the question is, am I going to continue being on this HBO show?
Right.
Because now HBO is like, this guy is on trial for Sandy Hook right now.
Right.
And you're buddying up with him.
it was interesting because I sort of thought like she had reached a certain level of being like above the woke law,
No.
and she isn't. And then
You're
Tim
not,
Dillon-
you're not if you're on a network.
I also wouldn't call it the woke law to be like, hey, we have a problem with you interviewing Alex Jones on his ranch.
she had interviewed
new
him a
Sharia
year
law.
ago,
Yeah.
and it was before he was on trial.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong in saying this, but
No, this is an interesting conversation. I had a conversation kind of similar to this recently.
Yeah. I don't know that it is. I think it's kind of absurd if you only interview people that you agree with their point of view.
Okay, so I'm kind of on the fence here too because there's people that I like that have interviewed people
And
I don't agree with.
Can I say just one thing on
Please.
the interview? So I listened to the interview with Alex Jones, and they're asking him questions without villainizing him. But from me listening to him, and I enjoy their interviews often, from me listening to him, I left that interview thinking like, this guy believes a lot of insane things and like is not very mentally like this guy is like he has convinced himself to believe things that are so untrue that he like you know what I mean? So like they didn't pitch it as like this insane like conspiracy theorist. They just like let him talk and it spoke for itself in my opinion.
But the issue, okay, so I can understand seeing things in that context. And you're a critically thinking person who's pretty media savvy and stuff like that. The issue is the way modern media, especially social media, works is just so vastly different than how it used to be. So people will have this like, and I don't even know if I'm with this or whatever. It's just an interesting conversation. But
Sure.
The other side's point is we're not looking at it in a light of this is one person's this is one ideologue conversating with another ideologue trying to settle their differences or highlight their discrepancies. Modern media's breakdown of this is it's two clout chasers combining their clout.
Yeah, they only had him on as a bit. It's really just as a bit. It's not like because you talk about speaking for himself. The guy's been speaking for himself on his own show for years. If you want to know what Alex Jones thinks, you can go watch InfoWars. So there's no reason to have him on the show other than as a bit.
Have you listened to him on their show?
On the Red Scare?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So on his show, according to him, he is playing a character. And he's like...
Well, he had to get forced to say that.
Well, okay, whatever. That
It's a big distinction.
Yeah. But if you want... I'm just saying, the way that when he's talking with them and like a person to person, it's like he's talking like this. He's not screaming or whatever. On InfoWars, he ups it to like a level 1000.
But he's
where
still
it's like
saying...
It's similar to like Tim Dillon on his show where he's like screaming all the time. But if you meet Tim Dillon in person, he's just like a calm person.
Yeah, but the
He's not like
opinions
that.
remain the same.
I totally get. I understand what you're saying, Matt. But I think that you're just looking at it through a different lens than people who have, and the lens that people who have a problem with it is like this lens of like platforming. Platforming is sort of
a way of
a thing.
validating.
It's but I also am a person where I'm like, I don't want to take that I don't really know how I feel about it because on another end, it is like, well, you can use that to completely discredit other people. Like, you can discredit anyone you want by being like, well, you don't want to platform these ideas. Now, do I think it makes more sense for certain people? But sure, but those are the lines that I draw. So it's a hard one to sort of figure out. But what I'm just trying to say is, to other people, what it's doing is it's the same thing as a Jake Paul boxing match where everybody's like, oh, you should box Jake Paul because you can kick his ass, and that's what he needs is a good ass kicking. It would be great for him if that happened. It would be great because it's not about
fans become exposed to Jake Paul, and
not
YouTubers
just that.
become exposed to
those
boxing.
those videos get watched a lot. Jake Paul gets to do a post-fight video where he's like, "Yeah, I got my ass kicked." That I'm using as an analogy to talk about having a public debate with someone. Just because of the nature of social media, it has kind of tampered those waters where someone's credibility isn't what's at stake. It's just once you get on the shows, you already win because it's all about being seen and having like inflammatory opinions nowadays.
Yeah, and I guess their show, if anything, it more humanized him, which people don't want to hear.
Also, Cooper, this brings me to an interesting point. We need you to box someone to get views up for this podcast.
What do you want me to box?
This is what I was going to. I think maybe
Alex Jones.
Maybe. Ooh. I think maybe we'll start lower and then we'll work our way up. So I think Ben Avery first. Tim Dillon's co-host. He's in the podcast world. He's been on the show before. People know him. We'll have you box Ben Avery.
You want me to box Ben?
We're gonna have you box Ben.
Ben's he's not really all there.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean?
It just might be wrong to box him.
This is good. No, this is called promo. He's selling the fight.
Yeah.
Keep going.
He's just not.
Do you think that
it would like literally
Ben is neurodivergent?
It would be like not a hate crime, but it would be like, you know, like if you walked into like a home for like the mentally feeble children.
Wow,
and
this
you
is
just
a
started
really low blow.
kicking 'em.
You're saying, why would I go into an elementary school and beat up a 7-year-old?
Yeah, that would be fucked up.
A really tall 7-year-old.
Yeah.
A very tall, skinny 7-year-old.
Even if he won, it's just wrong to fight him.
You're saying it's a lose-lose for you.
Do you hear that?
Pretty much.
Hey, you hear that over there? We got a contender for you.
I don't think Ben's gonna hear about this.
We'll do MMA. I'll send it to him.
I mean, maybe if I like see him around, I'll tell him, but I don't really think he'd be interested.
We'll do 1 round boxing, 1 round MMA, and then 1 round you guys just have to fuck.
Wait, how does that work?
Well, so if
Who wins the fuck?
that
Exactly.
Judges' scorecards.
So there's going to be a panel of 7 people watching.
How do you compare a guy fucking versus a guy getting fucked, though?
Exactly.
Exactly.
You can only compare 2 guys.
The scoreboard will tell it all.
I mean, I'm sure there's been situations with shit tops and perfect bottoms.
Oh, every day. Yeah.
What makes a bad top?
No.
Compassion. No compassion.
No. I would say compassion makes a bad top.
Do you think that's a personal preference?
I would just think that people who often I'm generalizing like crazy, but that's what you got to do in showbiz, baby.
No,
you want to feel like you want to feel dominated.
Yeah.
You want to feel like that person
But
is taking
compassion-
ownership
okay.
of you. I don't want to hear you say, "Is that okay? Is that too hard? Is that too fast?"
So this is something I can
Just do your thing.
This is something I can speak on because I've been
You've been bottoming.
No, I've been topping for a lot of women, which is an even more kind of interesting power balance because it's not two men.
Right. Heterosexual
I'm
sex
so
is
much
more interesting.
I never said interesting.
You use the word interesting.
Did I say interesting? Did I say
you
more
said-
interesting?
You said it's more interesting. Did I
say more interesting?
I don't know. We could rewind. Keep going.
Is that homophobic to say that gay sex is boring?
No, I never said it was boring.
No, but I'm saying if that's like what
I'm
you're
bored
saying.
with
like,
it. I only watch straight porn.
I'm saying in terms of the power imbalance because you have another layer there, which is the fact that there's also like a gender dynamic.
Oh yeah. So it's more. There is a lot more to consider.
Yes.
A lot more to consider.
And I read that there was a girl who was really wanting me to do like a lot of and I didn't know how comfortable
You read
I was.
this?
I read this book called The New Topping Book.
Oh, I thought you were saying you read about a girl who was wanting
No.
you to do it.
This
read
is a girl
about a
in real
horny
life.
woman.
You read a book called The New Topping
The New
Method?
Topping Book, and the first thing it says in the book,
Pretty gay.
it's
Yeah.
pretty gay.
Is
You
it
know
You
what's so
won't
funny?
wrestle a man naked, but you'll read a whole book
Yeah.
about being gay.
You know what was so funny about this is when I was like
It's gay
younger.
as shit.
So I would be reading the book about like, and these are all the and then I just come in like 30 seconds.
Is it for straight men?
It's for everybody. You could read it and probably learn about it, but it's like the first thing is
It's for gay
the
guys.
bottom is always in control, and the top is always like subservient to the bottom.
because you're doing the work.
Yeah. I would say for me, at first, it's nice to get acquainted. It's nice to get acquainted with the dick, and then you kind of once everything's settled in and there's not going to
What do you mean get acquainted with the dick?
I mean, you can't.
Suck it.
People like in movies. I don't know how vaginas work very well.
Say that again, Cooper.
Suck it. That means suck it, right? You're
No.
foreplay.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Do you know there's a sexuality where people are only into foreplay?
Yes, that's not what I'm talking
What the fuck's
about.
up with that shit?
I mean, acquainted as in your whole. In movies, people start making out, and then immediately the guy's just inserting himself into that person.
Yeah, that is something that comes up now.
I just mean that person's whole. I don't know how women are, but I'm assuming it needs to kind of get acclimated to the dick before you just start pounding their lights out.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh, you mean get
Absolutely.
acquainted like you start slow?
That's getting acquainted.
Yeah. I mean, that's more of a thing when it comes to anal with men, or just anal in general.
It
but
is
you're-
than
but
with
you're-
women.
But you're definitely. I
Are
mean,
you
you
saying
still
that
can't.
women are looser than men's assholes?
Well, I think so. The way to
Yeah.
well, the way
Okay.
to
Vaginas are easier
it
to
is way
enter
easier
than
'cause-
assholes.
'cause for an
I don't
asshole,
know.
you need to like train it.
They also
and get it
self-lubricate.
bigger, and you need to. Well, for a woman, all you need to do is
Okay.
hand them a loaded handgun.
That's
and
where
then they're wet.
That's where God. That's where God wants us. That's why it's self-lubricate, because God wants us there.
That's foreplay. Is
Men also can self-lubricate through saliva.
That's what you were gonna say.
You are the devil. The
But
devil
yes, getting
is
acquainted,
inside
and then
of you.
once they're acquainted, I think it's more fun if the whoever is topping sort of takes control from
Yeah.
there. But up top, if you just like try to shove it in, like it is not comfortable, and that's why when they show the like shower scenes in American History X and the person is like bleeding, that's why it happens like that, because they didn't get acquainted. That's not like every gay sex interaction.
Yeah, I didn't.
That's why
think
it
that.
hurts.
I don't watch American History X and like, oh, just like Matt.
Well,
You know
a
how
lot
gay
of,
guys have sex?
Well,
They-
people who don't have gay friends,
They just
do.
each other.
Yeah,
They're
they all
like-
have swastika
Yeah, they're
tattoos.
just like, I don't get why people like butt sex. Like, it must hurt so bad. It's like, yeah, if you just run up to someone and shove your dick in their ass,
right.
Yeah.
it's gonna hurt.
That would be so funny.
Yeah, I like how you said run
the
up.
actual running.
Yeah.
Also, I don't understand. This is a longer conversation, but have you seen American History X?
Of course. Yeah.
They like literally grab the guy, and then all of a sudden he's just inside of him. It's like
Impossible.
that guy just the guy who is committing the R word just automatically is hard as a rock. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what he's hard for.
Yeah, if he's super into,
He's a
I mean,
rapist.
that's not the. I mean, the.
Okay.
And they probably have one guy where they're like, oh yeah, Chester's the man for this job. You know what I mean?
because he's
Chester's
ready
just
to,
into
he's ready
this.
to R word.
Yeah.
So-
That's his
Damn.
role.
Is that like your place if you're a gay white supremacist? Is that like you guys?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Why
You said
by
he's
that?
the
Looking at
man.
me and
You said he's
Dan.
the. Why am I looking at? 'cause
No.
you're my co-host.
I'm saying that not.
Did you just say why am I looking at you and Dan? Do you want me to look at Lewis?
Well, I would feel more comfortable if the question.
No,
was
I
directed
get
at
what he's
not
asking
me.
now. No, Cooper, we're saying this specific guy. We're not saying all. This is a really tough conversation to navigate.
If you're a white supremacist who enjoys R-wording people, then prison probably is the best place for you.
Why does he do that to the guy for his own pleasure or like
no, because
as-
they're punishing
as
him.
torture?
They're punishing him.
He
yeah.
stopped being a white supremacist, and they're like, "You're a little bitch," and so then they.
That movie, by the way, rewatching it, it does not hold up as well as I thought it would.
I was just
have.
looking up.
I haven't seen
seen
this
it in
flick.
like 10 years, and it's like number 87 highest rated movies of all time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Isn't there
I
a
wonder
curb
if
stomp?
it's not. Maybe it was just groundbreaking for.
Yeah, for the time.
time.
Anytime there was a
There is a curb
period
stomp
where they
in
would
it.
just have if
Jesus.
you were a white guy and you played a racist character,
Yeah.
people were just like, he's the best actor.
Who becomes unracist?
Yeah. Oh well, they
It
all
was like,
have to. Yeah, you have to. Of
Oh
course.
my god!
You can't be. Wait, he ends up unracist by the
Yeah,
end
at
of
the
the
end,
movie?
he's
It's about a
unracist.
skinhead who goes to prison for curb stomping someone, and while he's in prison, he realizes why racism is bad, and then he gets out of prison and tries to like convert his
Dude.
racist family out of.
Prison is the
It's
last place somebody's gonna not
sucks.
be racist.
Yeah. Isn't that a funny thing though? Yeah, that is true because there
you
is a
been?
lot of. Well, I watch a lot of Wes Watson,
It's
so I know all
segregated.
about this.
Listen, I've seen Orange Is the New Black, and those chicks be getting along.
Prison is segregated.
That's true.
Even in Orange Is the New Black, they have a whole thing about person being segregated.
I know, but me as a viewer made me love everyone.
you go. These women are getting along.
Do you think there's like positive racial politics in prison?
I haven't been.
Oh boy,
Oh boy.
it's different in prison.
Have you been?
No, but
Okay.
I've talked to people who have been, and
You've talked to people who have been to prison.
yeah, I'm not afraid of people that have gone to prison like you are, I guess.
I love talking to people who
You
have been to
talked
prison.
to them?
I was clarifying
those
a question.
people?
I was clarifying.
Yeah. But I mean, they segregate
I
you
love
the
Martha
minute
Stewart.
they segregate you the minute you walk into a jail.
It's
And
true. They segregate gay people from straight people. They segregate funny people from unfunny people.
Yeah, I'd be in the damn silly wing.
Oh yeah, it's more of
They
a
would
personality.
they would look at me and be like, "You're not a comedian."
Yeah, and then you have
I'd
to
be
do
like,
5.
No, I'm funny.
The second you get on the yard, dude, first they're like, "Where's your paperwork?" Second, they're like, "Where's your type 5?"
It's funny to imagine prison wardens like divvying up the prison terms of like I think they would like get along. But like not
Yeah.
from race of like they just have like they're a fun
They
group.
have a good vibe.
This is like a fun
They
group.
cause so many murders.
Yeah, this is like a fun group.
Yeah.
I think they really like each other.
They both like Star Trek.
He's sort of quiet, but he's more outgoing. I think he'll sort of
He'll
bring
be
something
good
out
socially
of
for him.
Right.
Yeah,
You know, he's gay. We think he's gay.
that's cute.
We'll find out. Lewis, how much time do we have left? We're at 40 minutes. We're at 40?
Matt, you would be so racist if you went to prison.
Me?
Yeah. You'd be with the white supremacists and you'd be like, oh my God, yeah, fuck them.
Fuck the white supremacists.
No, like
I would be
other
racist
other
against the white
races.
supremacists.
No, I mean, you would be standing there like with like a swastika on your arm and you'd be like, oh my God, yeah,
I
fucking.
don't think so. I think I would
Ugh.
probably do whatever I could to get into the black women's ward of the prison.
Right.
Like I would like really make that my goal
Right.
because that is where I would enjoy myself the most.
They would beat the shit out of
I
you.
would not make it past 12 hours.
Oh, yeah.
No, I would be killed immediately.
Oh, it would be bad.
I don't think
and
you-
I would be thankful.
They would be like, this is for taking all of the things that we say.
yeah.
And
they're like,
and
here, why don't
saying
you
them."
steal this part of our culture? And then they murder me.
Fucking
Yeah.
kill you.
Yeah.
You'd
for
say
sure.
queen and it would be over.
Oh, yeah.
No, but while I'm being beat to death, I would say, yes.
You would say yes.
No, that is a really. I think that people do need to talk about that more. How like horrible and horrifying and like Cause I feel like people. There's not as much conversation about how inside of prisons, it is just completely like militant and like unlivable and scary, and we just put people in that position, and it's so it's so like gross that we do that.
Yeah, we just traumatize people.
Oh my, it's so traumatic to do that to people. You're putting them literally in a situation where we've all, like, everybody knows who knows anything about prison that it is like, you're taking someone who's like, oh, because you stole a TV, you're going to go into this, or like you have 3 strikes or whatever, you have to go into this environment where it's segregated. Like that's not the. I mean, there's like other bad things. That's not the only bad thing about it. But just to start with, and then you're subjected to violence. You have to do violence against other people to keep standing in whatever like group or gang or whatever you want to call it you're in. That sucks. To think that people are going to come out of that better.
Never.
Ugh.
Yeah, my mother is an American history teacher, and when I saw her last summer, I talked to her for the first time about for-profit prisons, and she was unaware of their existence.
There's not a ton of them though. There's not a lot of privately owned prisons. I don't think.
I own
Lewis, can you look
like
that up?
3.
Yeah, how many private prisons? I mean, one is way too many.
We should start one.
One is the Sissy Boys together.
We could do it in here.
Did I ever tell you guys about the first time I got in trouble?
But the prison would be a prison of pleasure in here.
And so I started saying something. So I started saying something there, and then you decided that saying a prison of pleasure.
I'm a feminist.
Interesting.
You also did start speaking when he mentioned that you interrupted him, which is pretty funny.
What were you saying?
I was saying the first time I ever got in trouble for a joke, it was a dumb joke about private prisons.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said, I don't know if you guys knew this. There's they're getting rid of private prisons, which is really bad for me because I'm trying to start a private prison. It's a small prison. It's just a guy in my basement now. It was like a dumb beginner's joke. It's like paint by numbers. Like what's going to happen to all those mom and pop prisons out there? Like,
Sure.
And then I did it at this college, and the people who ran the show messaged me afterwards and were like, hey, like, great show, but I just wanted to say your joke about prisons really threw a lot of people off and made them upset.
What is wrong about that joke?
They said it was because it's about prisons, and prison is a racial issue, that it was a racially charged joke. And literally, I can't make this up. I can find the message. The person who messaged me about this said, when you say that you have a person in your basement, I can't help but picture a black person. And I was like, what the fuck?
Don't you feel so racist typing that out?
How do you type that out and then press send and go, I'm in the right here?
They're like, if I'm going to lock anyone in my basement, it's going to be a black guy. And so I can't hear you telling that joke.
It's just...
I want to put black people in prison so bad that it seriously offends me when you talk about it.
It was shocking
It's all
to
I
me.
think about.
Because it was also...
wild.
It was one of my first shows ever. It was like maybe the second or third show I ever did. And I was just like, oh, I'm not going to do comedy ever again. This is not worth it.
Did you
When
take
you
a break?
describe yourself doing something horrible to someone, I imagine Viola Davis.
Yeah, it's like,
And
what the fuck?
because I imagine that, you are racist.
Luckily, I stopped doing that joke for the reason that anyone should stop telling a joke like that, which is that it is not funny. It is just not a good joke.
If I'm thinking about torturing people, I'm thinking about black people.
It's just
That's
such
what they
a
said.
fucked up thing to type out first. If you type that out, you should commit yourself to some form of psychiatric evaluation. And then to press send. 150. There's 150 private prisons? 8% Whoa, way more than I thought.
You learn something new every day.
That's good to know.
8%
only
of
8%?
prison?
How many fucking prisons are there? Gee, like thousands?
If 8% is 150, then it's around 1,500.
They are all full, so goddamn.
For you.
We should probably stop locking people up for like non-violent offenses that really don't affect anybody.
Yeah, it's weird that we do that. It's
There's
very weird.
150 private prisons.
No, 120, right? 150. Shit.
And we could make it 100.
This is how much I want to be correct. Is my fucking stupid brain will constantly try to make the number lower, even though it was just spoken to me.
That's okay. You just didn't hear it.
I
always see the best in you.
You're the only one. I'm wrong so often
I disagree.
and so furious.
The image of a mom and pop private prison is very funny. Just to
Yeah,
think of
that
it in a
was-
small
yeah.
town where it's like, hey, how you doing?
honest,
like, very
hardworking.
nice, you know?
Yeah.
But if their prison, really changed the definition of a prison, where their prison was like kind of like a bed and breakfast rehabilitation place where they like can teach you lessons about kindness
Right.
and reconciliation. It
I
would be
mean,
beautiful.
no,
There's
it
like
truly
a
is.
gospel choir, and
be
there's
nice.
also a glee club that has gay people.
There's the
Ooh.
first
And
maximum.
you're not allowed to hurt them.
There's the first maximum security
like
prison.
other gay glee clubs where you're allowed to hurt them.
Yeah.
The first maximum security prison in Greenland has
Mexican
Don't-
security prison?
maximum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, Cooper. We're just gonna forget.
I don't
that
think those
happened.
exist.
Yeah. We're gonna move on.
But you can use context clues like sometimes.
we're gonna
But,
move on.
They don't have cells. They have like dorms that
Yeah.
are locked, and they have their own rooms, and then they have a kitchen where they can go in and make their own food, and they give them like knives and everything, and they can vote too. Yeah, and
In
the guards.
Greenland?
The guards are barely there. They all just kind of live together. And then they go and do like arts and crafts. And some people are like, yeah, you might be a little too nice.
Maybe that's too much.
And
yeah,
this is
we
a
don't know.
maximum security prison, so these people have done like
Yes.
killed people.
They're like violent offenders, yeah.
And are multiple of them allowed in the kitchen at the same time with knives?
Yeah, they all hang out. Their prison is like nicer than my apartment. Like easy.
Wow.
Easy. It's
Yeah.
nicer.
This is Greenland its own country?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
either Greenland or Iceland. It's a very small country, and it's where in like Reykjavik, like they all
Reykjavik
like
is
a
Iceland.
lot of them know each other, like a startling amount apparently. So when they talked about this prison, they were like, "So do you arrest people that you know?" They're like, "Quite often,
Yeah.
quite often," which
Weird.
makes for a better police force because it's different than in LA where
Yeah,
like
I
cops
think-
from Simi Valley come and arrest kids in South Central.
The real issue is kind of like lack of
Yeah.
community. Like that's like why countries with so many people always have problems. Like the higher the population of the country, usually the bigger the problems.
We need community.
Yeah.
This podcast brings it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true. We should start a for-profit basketball team.
God, we need more prisons in this country.
No.
We need more people in prison.
No, Cooper, that
To
is
build
not.
more
No, that's not the takeaway.
With longer sentences.
No. That's no.
With
That's not
fewer
the.
chances.
No, that's not the takeaway.
And no more appeals.
No.
What's
there
this
needs
whole
to be-
appeal
There needs to
thing?
be a process of appeals because
Once
then
you're
it keeps
in,
it keeps the system kind of honest. You
once
know.
you're in, you're in.
What's something Pan you've done? And if you say something to Pan, we're gonna put you in prison.
I took my girlfriend to a secret breakfast.
Oh,
It's where you take them
Wow.
to breakfast, but you don't tell them where you're going. So it's a
Yeah.
secret.
But
little secret
she
breakfast.
knew that it was going to be breakfast.
She did know it was going to be breakfast. It was the morning. So, yeah. I guess it's all right that she knew that.
Good
I guess
God.
maybe a surprise breakfast would actually be lunch. Maybe you're right.
that would be.
But I guess that would be a real surprise.
you black bag her at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, bring her
and
to
throw her in a
Outback steak.
van. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, what's something gay you've done?
Last night I had a person come over who was a friend, and I like wanted to. They're loosely a friend. This story sucks. They're really annoying.
Okay.
And in my mind, I was like, it would be cool to have sex with them. They don't want to have sex with me.
Right.
They're really annoying.
Right.
My night was just 3 hours of me listening to them talk.
Oof.
I don't like talking to them.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to have sex with me. So it was a huge waste of
God,
time
that
on
really
both of our
hurts.
parts.
I'm
you
sorry.
think they suck and they don't want to fuck you.
Yeah.
No, but that's why it was like, enticing, I guess.
Right.
Literally at one point, they went up to go to the bathroom and I pulled out my Duolingo to like do my one Spanish lessons that the app doesn't yell at me. And when they got back from the bathroom, I was like, hey, I just have 3 questions left and then I'm done with this lesson. I'll put it away. And he goes, no, put it away now.
This
And
is
I,
your friend?
and I was like, I'm just going to do it. And he goes, if you don't put it away right now, I'm going to pour my drink down the sink and go home. And then everything in my mind was like, this is insane behavior and he should go home. But instead I put the app away.
It's just strange to have that mentality and then also not want to fuck you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's odd.
Yeah.
Something straight that I did was drove to my girlfriend's house and installed a lock on her door.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Did you give yourself a spare key?
I already had a spare key.
Did she get
Pervert.
broken in or something?
No, it's a long story, but
Oh, okay.
she just wanted the extra lock on the door.
Sometimes you got to have an extra lock.
Would
on
you
the
say
door.
that she is a prisoner in her own apartment?
Interesting question. No, I would say her cat is the prisoner.
God,
Yeah.
that's steep.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe.
Thanks so much.
Subscribe on YouTube.
Thanks so much for listening. If we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to open a private prison.
Nope, but thank you.
We will.